Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus A330 pilot and welcome back to another A330 Relobs. Today we're going to fly the Lufthansa A330-300 from Frankfurt to Dallas-Fort Worth to the brand new Imagine Sim scenery. This is going to be an exciting one, so let's get straight into it. But before we start, a quick message from today's sponsor, Say Intentions AI. If you're looking for an ATC add-on, especially one that can not just do your standard IFR A to B flight, but also things like data link, VFR, and even has a couple of extra gimmicks like a cabin crew simulation, then look no further than Say Intentions AI. We will use them in today's video, so if you like what you are going to see today, then do check them out using the link that you can find in the video description below. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into our pre-flight preparation for the Lufthansa flight 438 to Dallas-Fort Worth. And we are going to start this one, as always, with a flight plan check. So here's what our route looks like today. It's a fairly straightforward route from Frankfurt over the Netherlands, Scotland and Greenland into Canada and then down to Dallas. Now the significant weather chart looks pretty good today. We actually start with a little bit of tailwind, which you don't have too often on a westbound flight, and then crossing Greenland there is nothing up there, and getting into the US we are going to see a couple of CBs over here. And then finally we've got that area number 1, which is moderate turbulence up to flight level 400. And last but not least we have this large area, this super large area of CBs that actually encompasses Dallas as well. But let's have a look at the weather forecast and see what things are about. So we do have a SIGMAT here for the Fort Worth FIR, which has thunderstorms up to flight level, well, above flight level 450. Houston reports a couple as well, Winnipeg as well, and Minneapolis as well, Kansas City as well. And then if we look into the airport weather, some of that fear can now slowly settle down again, because Dallas itself is actually looking pretty good, as you can see. Now our outlet in Austin has some thunderstorms forecast, but just throughout the night. At our estimated time of arrival, by tomorrow, we actually are going to have very good weather conditions. And, well, over in Houston, similar, but they are getting thunderstorms in the evening again. So I think things should be fine, but let's not stretch our luck and let's just take some extra where we can. Now for our flight plan itself, we are departing at 0810, and if we do that we're going to arrive 25 minutes ahead of schedule. However, we are pretty close to the maximum takeoff weight. The maximum we can take extra is 3.5 tons, and that brings us rather close to the max landing weight as well already. Cruising level 340, later on 36, 38 and 400. And finally, if we go down into the fuel section, then we can see that our expected arrival fuel is 5.7, that's just about perfect, plus contingency. And now 1000 kilos higher takeoff weight means 323 kilos higher fuel usage. Flying 2000 feet below, interestingly enough, is going to save a little bit of fuel, but at the cost of 7 minutes at a time. And we can absolutely consider doing that today, provided that we are on time, because we have those 25 minutes of margin. So chances are that we might actually fly a bit lower. Now, if we need to make up some time, then we can do that down here as well. CI 300 uses 3,900 kilos extra, but can save 20 minutes. Okay, so with that in mind, we can just check our ETOPS portion of the route, which is fairly easy. Departing Keflavik, we are just crossing Greenland down here, so it's not a very long ETOPS flight, perhaps about an hour or so in the ETOPS area. And then of course we should have a second one going all the way into here, so this part here is covered from Goose Bay as well. Now, if we check that down here in the forecast, we can see that Keflavik is totally fine. Now, this does not look very nice, but the good news is we'll be there before that time, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so with that in mind, I don't quite trust the weather down in Texas. for this reason I'm going to tanker it up to the max takeoff weight. So 3.5 tons extra fuel. Of course, when we make a decision like this, we would call our operations control and ask them, guys, do you intend to take any extra cargo that might cause some problems? If the answer is no, perfect. Alright, and with that we can board our A330. Beautiful livery from used by Ryzen, and I just love how they add things to the model, even some visual stuff like the Lufthansa board over here. We have the Lufthansa pillows in here. And we do have to have Lufthansa seats as well. Lufthansa business class. I mean, this just gives it a lot of very nice feeling, doesn't it? This is just really, really well done. The galley over here as well, with a couple of items added. I like that a lot. Alright, but now let's get to the important part, and that's the cockpit. We're going to take a seat on the captain's seat today, and then we can get straight into it. So let's go ahead and order catering services, handling by Gate Gourmet please, and then we can start the preliminary cockpit preparation. So engine master levers are off, engine start selectors norm, the weather radar is turned off, landing gear lever is down, and the wiper selectors are off. Batteries have been turned on by engineering, external power as well. And then let's tune our RNPs. So that's going to be 122035, Frankfurt delivery. And then we can tune 1 to 1.5. And interesting. That's that. So let's make sure we hear something as well on VHF1, VHF2, and the interphone. And ensure the loudspeaker is turned up as well. Here we go. Nice. Okay, so it's rather warm outside, so let's go ahead and do the APU fire test. ADRS is coming on, and then I am going to start the APU already to get air conditioning going. Here we go. Alright, so EFB initialization. We can download the Simri flight plan over here, Lufthansa 2 Kilo, Frankfurt to Dallas, and then we can download our payload as well. For the fuel we wanted 3.5 extra, so that's going to be 71.8, well, call it 72 tons of fuel. So 72,000, apply that load, instant, and what do we get? 233.1, that's the taxi weight, so we will be within the maximum takeoff weight by the time we get to the runway. Perfect. So let's do some preliminary calculations with that, and that's going to be off Frankfurt runway 25 center. We'll make that a Torah of 3,900 meters to calculate Lima 3, synchronize the weather. The weight is going to be maximum takeoff weight, config 2, air conditioning off, calculate. So we can lift all of that off the runway, that's good. 45 degrees flex, speeds 56, 61 and 65. That is all looking pretty good. Then let's also set up our EFB over here, and of course the lock-in has expired. Here we go, that's better. And then finally we can grab some charts as well. So Frankfurt am Main, departures, airport, we need the ground chart, and we need the APC East, and then departures of 25 center. We're looking at the Gulf departures, so let's pin those too. And here we go. Alright, that's our EFB prepared, and our initial takeoff calculation done already. Then let's move to the ECAM. We do have sufficient oxygen on board, we have sufficient hydraulic quantity on board. Let's check the engine oil. And that's looking good as well. Okay, so flaps are up and the ground spoilers are retracted, all of that agrees. Then let's test our outlet brake system. And that's looking very good. Okay, cool. So that is done. Catering here in the front seems to be completed already, when I see that right. They just closed that door. that is just lovely. Then let's go ahead and request our boarding. Here we go. So boarding is requested. Let's turn the lights on. Maybe you bleed also. And now we can warm that cabin up, or rather cool it down. And while all of that is in progress, we can go ahead and head out for the walk around. So here it is, the best looking aircraft in the world, the Airbus A330. So we're starting the walk around down here at the static ports, and they're unobstructed. Then we're moving forward. We got the forward AOA vane, which is looking good. Moving down to our forward landing gear, everything down here is looking good and undamaged. And let's move a little bit to the front. Again, all the lights are looking good. The tires are in a good shape. Perfect. Okay, so the fuel tubes are fine, the tab probe is fine, and the ice detectors are good as well. Then let's take a little distance here. Plane still looks straight. Looks like I haven't landed this particular one yet. And then we're gonna end up at the front over here. The oxygen discharge disc is looking good. Fuel tubes looking good. Tab probe, ice detectors. Then we got the AOA probes up here. And we better be safe than sorry while they are driving around with the vehicles down here. Gotta be a little bit careful. Okay, static ports are fine. Air inlet, everything looking good. Slats are looking good. Then we get up to the engine, checking the leading edges, checking the condition of the fan blade and the D12 probe. And all of that is in a good shape. Let's check the bottom of the cowling as well. And all the doors on the engines are closed. So moving to the back of the engine. Quick look inside, and everything is good in here as well. Right, then let's check the leading edge, making sure that there has not been any past damage, and that any dent that we may find in there is marked. So the green lamp light is illuminated. We do see the white cross of the overpressure disc. And then we can check the trailing edges and make especially sure that there is no feathers sticking out and nothing collides. Getting to the landing gear, we check the general condition of the tires, the brake wear indicator pins, we check for any possible leakages. And this is all looking absolutely excellent. The pins have been removed as well. That's going to be important for later for the checklist, because the gear pins and cutoff point refers very much to what you see during the walk around. Man, weather is not looking good over there. I do hope you won't have to fly through that. But anyway, it's going to be a couple of minutes until our departure, so we have a long time to await that weather. Okay, so in here we do see the disc and the white cross. The white light is illuminated. Leading edge is looking good. Stabilizer is looking good. Why is there no stair over here but an open door? That is not very good. I don't want to have to call any standbys. Alright, the outflow valve is checked. Then let's get back to the landing gear. Again, we are looking for any possible sign of damages, anything that might be wrong, anything that could potentially cause us some trouble. There has been a past case where there was just a bolt found over here which stuck in one of the tires. It must have been somewhere on the parking area. Someone must not have checked the gate area before the airplane taxied in, and that bolt actually caused quite some trouble when it got loose just before the aircraft lined up. Luckily for everyone, the ECAM sensed the loss of the tire pressure before anything severe could happen, and they just returned to the gate. Problem solved. But this is definitely some stuff that you should hopefully find during the walk around. Then again, if the bolt is somewhere at the bottom during the walk around, there's nothing you can do. But that's why we do this stuff, and that's why everyone involved in the operation has to be so careful and just stay vigilant. You never know what you might find. And what we all know is that anything that you do find has the potential to save lives. Just imagine that those tires are spinning at 160 knots and the bolt gets loose while it's turning up on the tire and then penetrates the wing. That would kind of be another Concorde scenario, and we absolutely don't want that, do we? So the walkaround is looking good. Then let's get into the pre-flight procedure. This is actually done fairly quickly down here. Refueling is complete, so we can turn everything on. Turn the batteries off and on again, and check the LADC page, and we can see they are charging just about fine. Fire test is looking good. Maintenance panel is checked, and everything's looking good up here. We can record that PA, and that's all looking good. Wonderful. So let's see. QNH is 1024. And it's the 15th of June 2025. So here everything's looking good, down here as well. And flutter suppression can come on, weather and turbulence is selected, and everything is set. Alright, lovely. Then let's have a look into our FMS. A330-300, Trent 700 engines, nav database is up to date. You can delete any of those previously stored items. Crashpad messages are checked, and flight plan request. So, Frankfurt to Dallas, Alton at Austin, Lufthansa 438 is incorrect, it should be Lufthansa 2 Kilo. Cosnix 20, flight level 340, that's all looking good. So, departing Frankfurt, runway 25 center on the Old Boca for course departure. Insert, on arrival at Dallas will be an ILS Victor approach 13 right, via the Victory 2 arrival, with the Ibaka transition, however you would correctly pronounce that one. Alright, and insert. Now let's go ahead and program our emergency waypoint. That's going to be Fox 5. And someone asked me recently why it is Frankfurt X5, because technically speaking it should be 4, shouldn't it? Well, let's just take a quick moment to discuss how those waypoints are set up. So the emergency waypoints are always named with the IATA code of the airport, so Fox Romeo Alpha for Frankfurt. Then you've got X indicating that this is the emergency point, and then the letter is made up based on the... What did I do now? Well, the letter is made up based on the runway in question. So for example, if we are flying on runway 25 center, then we got the following runways ahead of us. 07 center would be 1, 07 left is 2, 18 is 3. And now you might say, well, but shouldn't 25 center be 4 then? Theoretically, yes. But there used to be a runway 24 left in Frankfurt. They got rid of that, but it seems that the X5 is a remainder of that particular runway. So just to have that in mind. Right, so now let's go down to the fuel section. Contingency 1.9. This is not a format error, my friend. This is a format error, but this is what it wants. Okay. 3.4 and 2.4. Okay, and onto the performance. Flaps 2 takeoff at 45 degrees, and the speeds 56, 61, 65. Alright. Reduction acceleration are checked. Engine oil acceleration 1850. Derated takeoff 1, and that's it. So, looking very good. Frankfurt 25 Senna in here as well. So optimum 352, so we may climb to level 360 straight away. We'll see about it, haven't decided yet. Probably depends on how turbulent it's going to be. By the way, that's an interesting looking guidance system down there. Something is definitely broken. But okay, let's not dwell on that. So QNH 1024. Probably 5,000 as initial. And here we go, everything's set. Boden from cockpit. Achtung, oxygen test. Should sound a little bit different, but we'll stick with that. Okay, so before we start the briefing, let's go ahead and get the ADAS. So departure is 118730.
Sky conditions. Temperature 17. Dew point 15. QNH 1024. Density altitude 300 feet. Arriving runways 25 center, 25 left, 25 right.
So it looks like they're almost done down here.
Departing runways 25 center, 25 left. Transition level 55. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information November.
Okay, information November. And with that, let's get our clearance. Time for delivery, Lufthansa 2 Kilo Heavy, information November, request clearance to Dallas.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
Yeah, sure. Direct 2 in progress. No, definitely not.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo. Information November is current. Clear to Dallas via the Hobart 4 Golf departure runway 25 center. Initial climb to 7,000 feet. Departure on 118.50. 5 squawk 3424.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, clear to Dallas, Hobart 4 Golf departure 25 center, climb 7,000. Departure 118.505, squawk 3424.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, read back correct. Contact ground on 121.805.
121.805, Lufthansa 2 Kilo. Okay, so runway 25 center, Oboka 4 Golf is confirmed, climbing 7,000 and 18505, squawk 3424. Okay, perfect. 18505, we can put that into here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Lufthansa Flight 438, departing from Frankfurt and heading to Dallas. We kindly ask you to take your seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the
let's
seats
see
in
about
front of you.
GSX.
If you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to our friendly crew members.
Again.
My name is Mara Meyer, and along with my wonderful colleagues, we are here to ensure you have a pleasant journey. Also, just a quick note that on June 28th and 29th, members of the Say Intentions cabin crew will be participating at the Flight Sim Expo in Providence, and we would love to chat with you there. Thank you for choosing Lufthansa.
Alright, excellent. So everything is set up over here. Now let's see, boarding should be completed by now, and we should have our load sheet. And that's going to be 161 point... Oh, that's wrong. This is better. 161.1. And that's what we have. Zero fuel weight is 26.6. Rather, zero fuel weight CG. And that gives me a takeoff CG of 27.6, which checks and is a trim of 3.7 units up. So max takeoff weight is calculated, max takeoff weight is on here, that's looking good. Alright, then let's go ahead and grab our pushback tug. Handling by farport, that's fine. So, der Boden von oben. Dann können Sie den Strom jetzt bitte abziehen und wir sind hier ansonsten auch soweit und warten dann jetzt nur noch auf Ihr Signal, dass wir den Pushback starten können. Wir fragen schon mal nach der Freigabe. So, let's do the departure briefing, please. Okay, departing Frankfurt, runway 25 center, Oboka for Golf departure, initial climb 7,000, MSA 4,300, and extra fuel and time. It says 0 in here at the moment, which is fine with me, because actually we haven't entered any of the step climbs just yet. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Step outs. So 360 at Ulla. Then we got 380 at Lobby. And 400 at Aglin. Alright, and that's it. So let's see, extra fuel and time. It says minus 3.6 there, but it's going to be much better than that. Do we have the wind data? Let's just do that again. Well, and that's this. So, hotspots for the taxi routing. Anything that has wheels on it. For our stop margin, we have about 50 meters. Engine out sits straight at Frax 5, climbing 4,000, pick up the hold over there. Anything to the south, 4,000 is fine. It's only when we go to the north where we need 5,000 feet. MSA officially 4,300. Now for our immediate return, the ILS approach for runway 25 left is planned because 25 center has a broken ILS. If you come back, we are going to be overweight, so we'll do the overweight landing procedure when time is available. Only if no time is available, aka aircraft on fire or anything the likes, we just come back straight away for an immediate re-landing on either runway. If just the airplane burns but not the engines, we can turn on the APU and the APU bleed, which is the most important part of the overweight landing procedure. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions? No threats, no specials, no abnormals. We just do a standard everyday flight today. So the door is closed, and then one last check to go. That's going to be our oceanic waypoints. So from at 6, we've got 62 north, 20 west, 63 north, 30 west, 63 north, 40 west, 62 north, and 50 west. And let's cross-check the coordinates. That's all looking good. Wonderful. Alright, I'm loving it. Then we can do the cockpit preparation checklist, please. Gearpins and covers removed. Fuel quantity 7,190 kilograms balanced. Seatbelts on. ADRs. nav and bubble ref. QNH 1024. Preparation checklist complete. Not HLA guideline, please. Aircraft acceptance, ETOPS PDSC checked, ABSM equipment checked, clock and GPS mode checked, HF checked, message lock erased, ADSC armed, ATC auto position report checked off, IRS full alignment performed, ground speed check 0, not HLA waypoints on OFP both primary flatband cross checked, wind data entered, not HLA guideline complete. Alright, let's say hello to our passengers and then we're ready. Fluggäste, eine schönen guten Morgen aus dem Cockpit. Hier spricht Ihr Kapitän. Mein Name ist Emanuel. Im Namen der Lufthansa darf Sie herzlich an Bord unseres Airbus A330-300 auf unserem Flug von Frankfurt nach Dallas willkommen heißen. Flugzeit heute wurden mit 10 Stunden und 20 Minuten berechnet. Wir erwarten einen weitestgehend ruhigen Flug. Lediglich über den USA erwarten wir einige Turbulenzen. Wir werden in Kürze das Gate verlassen, starten an die Motoren und rollen zur Startbahn 2.5 und dann starten wir in westlicher Richtung, gefolgt von einer Rechtskurve nach Norden über Wiesbaden und über den Taunus. Wir bedanken uns an der Stelle, dass Sie unsere Gäste sind. Lehnen Sie sich zurück, genießen den Flug mit uns und wir melden uns im Anflug auf Dallas mit dem neuesten Wetter bei Ihnen. Vielen Dank für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emanuel, and in the name of Lufthansa, welcome aboard our Airbus A330-300 on our flight to Dallas. Today's flight time is calculated at 10 hours and 20 minutes, and we expect a smooth flight for the first two-thirds. Only over the United States, we do expect a little bit of turbulence today. Nonetheless, we do expect an on-time arrival, and in the next couple of minutes we're going to leave the gate and start our engines, taxi to runway 25 and then depart in westerly direction, followed by a northwestern turn straight towards Dallas soon after takeoff. Thank you very much for being our guests. Sit back, relax and enjoy the flight with us, and we will get back to you with the latest weather when we start our approach into Dallas. So, Boden von oben. Wie sieht es denn bei Ihnen da unten aus? Sind Sie bald soweit? Ja, wir sind fertig. Okay, vielen Dank, sagen wir es doch. Dann fahren wir nach der Freigabe. Frankfurt ground, Lufthansa 2 Kilo Heavy, request pushback and startup.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, pushback and startup approved. Face south.
Pushback and startup approved, face south, Lufthansa 2 Kilo. So, bevor Start checklist bitte. Park and brake. Is set, takeoff speeds and thrust, V1 156, VR 161, V2 165, flex 45, windows closed, and the bacon is on and tasty. For Start checklist complete. So, Boden vom Cockpit, wir sind freigegeben zum Pushen, die Nase nach Süden und die Parkbremse ist noch gesetzt. Jo, dann einmal die Bremse lösen bitte. Okay, die Bremse ist gelöst. Dann ist der Aufblock um 19, das sind 9 Minuten Verspätung. Die schreiben wir auf späte Catering, würde ich sagen. Die Caterer kamen ja gerade erst an, als wir zum Flieger gekommen sind.
Captain, the cabin is ready for departure.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Lufthansa Flight 438, departing from Frankfurt and heading to Dallas. We kindly ask you to take your seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats in front of you. If you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to our friendly crew members. We have a fantastic team on board today, including Anna, Lucas, Sophie, and Max, who are here to ensure you have a pleasant journey. Our captain for this flight is Emmanuel, and our first officer is Heinz. The estimated flight time is 10 hours and 16 minutes, and we will be cruising at an altitude of 34,000 feet. Now let's go through some important safety information. Please fasten your seatbelt by inserting the metal fitting into the buckle until you hear a click. To release it, simply lift the buckle. We recommend keeping your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated, just in case we encounter any unexpected turbulence. In the unlikely event that we need to use the oxygen masks, they are located in the compartment above you. To use them, pull the mask towards you, place it over your nose and mouth, and secure it with the elastic band. Remember to put your own mask on first before assisting
So, der
others.
Pushback ist beendet mit
For
dem
those of you
Bremse
seated
setzen.
near the exits, please take note of the
Bremse
emergency
ist
exits on this
gesetzt. Wir haben
Airbus
guten Start auf der 1, wir
A330.
starten die 2.
There are 2 exits at the front, 2 over the wings, and 2 at the rear of the aircraft.
So.
In the event of an evacuation, leave your luggage behind and proceed to the nearest exit. Additionally, we have life
If you want us
vests
to bail,
located under
enter
your
2
seats.
stars.
To use them, pull the vest out, place it over your head, and pull the straps to secure it around your waist. Inflate the vest by pulling the red tabs or
Why
by
are they
blowing into
pulling
the
us
tubes.
forward?
Thank you for your attention, and we hope you have a wonderful flight with us today.
Ah, yeah. Because area number 2 has 2 exits. Okay, that's fine with me. So, jetzt aber Pushback completed, set brakes. And the brakes are set again. So, engine 2 is almost started. Engine 2 ist available. So, dann haben wir 2 gute Triebwerksstarts. Der Flieger bitte zum Rollen vorbereiten. Freizeichen auf der rechten Seite und wir wünschen einen schönen Tag. Tschüss. So, 27.6. That looks good. Okay, so here's the tuck. Then I'll tell you what, let's start with the flight control check already. Full up, full down, neutral. Full left, full right, and neutral. There's the ramp agent. There she is, holding a pin, and clear signal is received. Wonderful, rudder. Full left, full right, and neutral. After start, checklist please. RTRs off, decom status checked, pitch trim 27.6% set, rudder trim, neutral, after start, checklist complete. Lufthansa 2 Kilo, request taxi.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, taxi to runway 25 center via November 5, Lima, Lima North, Lima 1.
Taxi runway 25 center via November 5, Lima, Lima 1, Lufthansa 2 Kilo. Clear left side, clear right side. I'm ignoring the Lima North bit because we're not going to do that. Brake released, and let's go. Brake check. Pressure 0. That might have been a little bit too hot here. So, November 5 is the taxiway that we're currently on. So straight ahead, then to the left onto Lima, and Lima 1 is going to be the full length. Might request Lima 3, but let's see. So November 5, Lima, and and as mentioned, I have no clue why you wanted us on Lima North. We're definitely not going to do that. So, clear left side, clear right side. Normally the aircraft should accelerate on idle thrust. Unfortunately, the simulated one only does that at lightweight, not at heavy weights. The real one does, all the way up to the max takeoff weight. So, clear on the right side, and clear on the left side. Let's ensure that we're at 10 knots for the turn. Alright, and I have no changes to the takeoff briefing and control sides. So, lovely. Walk is in. Radar on, config. Checked. Okay, so we're just waiting for the cabin to get ready, and then we can do the checklists. accelerate further because we're still willing... Oh, here we go. Cabin is ready. That's what I call timing. So taxi checklist, please. Flight controls. Checked. Flap setting. Config 2. Radar predictive wind shear. On and auto. Engine start selector. Norm. Ecam memo. Takeoff. No. Taxi checklist. Complete. Lufthansa 2 kilo heavy, ready for departure, able intersection Lima 3. I just want to try this. You wouldn't say that in the real world, but I want to see
Lufthansa 2 kilo, you are on ground frequency. Contact tower for departure clearance.
You're lovely. Thanks for nothing. Okay, 1365. So departure will be at 18505. Tower, Lufthansa 2 kilo heavy, ready for departure.
Lufthansa 2 kilo, Frankfurt Tower, runway 25C, winds 1905 at 3, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 25 center, cleared for takeoff, Lufthansa 2 kilo, and we take Lima 3. Okay, cabin crew, prepare for departure.
Approaching 2-5 center.
Lineup checklist, please. Takeoff runway 25 center, Lima 3. TCAS, TARA, PAX 1 and 2. Off. Lineup checklist complete. Clear on the approach. Clear on the right. So, ready? Take off.
On runway 25 center.
Flex 45, SRS, runway, auto thrust middle. Thrust set. knots, checked. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav, checked. The real aircraft would need 15 degrees of pitch. That's one of the biggest flaws on the simulated one, that it needs only like 12, which would be engine out in the real world.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, contact departure on 118.505.
118.505, Lufthansa 2 Kilo. So, thrust decline 1, climb auto thrust. Flaps 0. Correction, flaps 1. Speed checked, flaps 1. Long radar, Lufthansa 2 Kilo heavy, passing 2100, climbing level 70.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, Frankfurt departure identified. Climb 4000.
Climb 4000, Lufthansa 2 Kilo. 4000 blue, flaps 0. checked. Flaps 0. So full speed 255. Just to give
Lufthansa
ourselves a
2
little
Kilo,
bit of
climb
margin.
flight level 200.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, climb flight level 200. $20,000 blue. Autopilot 1. Always fun and amazing when you look back and you really see how bad the A330 climbs. You look at that angle, that's nothing compared to other aircraft like the 737 or the 777. Then again, we are not sitting in a 737 or 777 here. This is an A330, and it climbs like one. So, flying over at Wiesbaden, the capital of the state of Hessen. Not Frankfurt, Wiesbaden is the capital, that one. And you can nicely see how the star takes us right across the Rhine. On the left side there is Mainz. Okay, is that standard? Looks like that standard button is broke down here. Luckily we can help ourselves. So standard is cross check, passing flight level 52 now. Checked. Okay, lovely. So, things are going to get a little bit easier now. Let's do the important stuff first. That's of course this. It's too bad they don't have any sound attached to it. But here we go. That's what an A330 flight deck looks like.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, climb flight level 240.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, climb flight level 240. Flight level 240 blue. Okay, so let's see. Flight level 352 is the optimum. 365 is the maximum. I tell you honestly, we're gonna climb flight level 360. Let's not bother with it. Let's just do that. That way we save ourselves a step climb. Okay, so let's just change that down here. 360. Let's see what that does to our fuel predictions. 8.5, which is 36 minutes extra. Good. That's what we've been looking for, isn't it? So, any nice directs would be appreciated. But I don't think we can ask for too much here. On the other hand side, why not? Lufthansa 2 Kilo, any chance to proceed direct to Boca?
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, proceed direct Oboka approved.
Thank you very much. Proceeding direct to Oboka approved. Lufthansa 2 Kilo. Oh, Oboka. Why does it say not allowed? That is allowed for sure. Alright, passing 10,000, manage speed, lights off. We'll wait until we're out of the turn, then we can also turn the signs off.
Dear
And
guests,
everything else
we are
is
pleased to
pretty
inform
much
you that
set.
the use of electronic devices is now allowed. You may now switch on your devices and enjoy our onboard Wi-Fi service. Please ensure that your devices are in airplane mode. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you have a wonderful flight.
Okay, wonderful. So that's about everything we could do for now. So I tend to say we are going to make our way towards Dallas, and then I'll see you all at a later stage during the flight. So that's been a pretty beautiful flight so far. You can see I more or less kept the original profile. I didn't fly much lower than anticipated because we do want to arrive on time. The ETA now says 19:02, and if we look into our flight plan, we can see that 19:05 is the scheduled arrival time. So we are running pretty well, but then again we shouldn't delay this any further. Alright, let's go ahead and start preparing our aircraft for the arrival into Dallas. We're going to start by collecting the charts for our arrival airport, KDFW, Dallas Fort Worth, and then we can go from there. We're expecting runway 13 right today, and that is going to be the Victory 2 arrival. Here it is, Victory 2 RNAV arrival. The approach will be an ILS Zulu runway 13 right. And we do have the AGC, and then let's check that one to see which parking chart we need, because there's far too many of them. So the parking up here in this area, and this is gonna be APC, Bravo, and Delta. So APC, Bravo, and Delta, that's one. Okay, cool. Then let's unpin the Frankfurt chart, because we don't need those anymore, and start up here on the star chart. So, ATIS 123.775. Let's see if we can get that, or if we are out of range over here. We might very well be. Yes, we are out of range. But luckily, that is not too much of a problem, because Say Intentions does have that stuff available online. So we can just have a look at their website as well, since our aircraft is unfortunately not data link equipped. But here you can see it, so Dallas Information Whiskey, and wind is calm, visibility 10 miles, broken clouds at 24,000, 23 degrees, altimeter 2995, arriving runways, a lot of them including 13 right. Okay, so that's it. Then let's go ahead and start checking our arrival. We're coming in from somewhere up here, if I'm not mistaken. Ibeki? Yes. Now, I'm sure my American friends will have a lot of suggestions on how to pronounce these things properly, but let's go ahead and go for it. So we've got Ibeki, then we have Font at 290 knots between 24 and 26. Then we have Winster between level 200 and level 220 at 290 knots. Followed by Arbuckle, Jija between 13 and 16 at 270 knots. And then we have Layman. Actually it's Victory. 250 knots between 10 and 11,000. Z-Man between 7 to 9,000 at 250 knots. And then we are going to continue down here, landing 13 right, towards Thaza at 5,000 and 250 knots. And then we have Mori, Papa, loads of additional numbers here, but nothing interesting by the looks of it. So Mori, Papa, and Hodax, and it looks like we're going to start the arrival from there. A couple of those waypoints twice down here, look at that. Mori, Papa, then on here, Mori, Papa. Normally the aircraft should sequence that automatically, but I'm just going to delete that. I'm not going to delete Papa, because I'm not meant to delete it, but let's remove the manual lag, let's remove that one, let's remove that one. Alright, now we have Mori, Papa, and that looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Alright, let's have a look at the ILS chart then, for the ILS Zulu approach, runway 13 right. So, Mori above 3, Papa is also above 3, and then we have Hodax as final approach point in 2,300 feet, minimum 800. Go around is certainly not what's drawn up there. Okay, so we gotta fly the go around manually then. Come on, close the GSX menu in the background. Okay, so at a minimum of 1,650, right turn, heading 230, intercept radial 275, triple tango, the slot, kilometer 3,000. I think I know the reason why this is different. Yeah, I do. But we can't select the Victory 2 arrival when we select the ILS Zulu. For this reason, I'll leave everything as it is down here.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, Kansas City Center. Expect the Victory 2 arrival. Expect to descend in about 20 minutes. Notify if you're ready to descend before that.
Expecting the Victory 2 arrival. We'll notify if ready to descend before 20 minutes. Lufthansa 2 Kilo.
So we'll just do the missed approach this way. Maverick VOR, course 275, and that's all we need. Okay, so that's that stuff. Then we also have something in the RadNav page. Dallas 13 right is in here. 292 on the descent looks good. So QNH 290.95, temperature 23, the wind is calm. And the minimum 800. So let's have a look at the AGC. Only down here 2,835 meters available. Then we are going to turn this into conflict-free approach. Just a quick check here for the go-around. 2.7 is the MSA, we're climbing 3,000, so let's just use 3,000 for the single engine acceleration. 43 minutes extra fuel, just like we wanted, and secondary is a copy of the active. Alright, lovely. Auto brake low. Actually, I tell you what, we'll do this without the auto brake. Just let it roll to the end. Okay. And that's our setup. Then let's start the approach briefing, please. Your turn. Okay, thanks. We're arriving in Dallas Fort Worth via the Victory 2 arrival, ILS 13 right. The minimum 800 feet, go around straight at 720 right hand turn, radial 275 from Maverick, climbing to 3000. Extra fuel and time, 43 minutes, and the form of 3,200 kilograms. Alright, thanks for that. Flight director guided ILS approach, config 3, and no auto brake. Maximum reverse, vacate the runway at the end, and then we have two hotspots for the taxi in. That's going to be crossing the runway 18 left, 18 right. So I assume we're gonna go somewhere like Bravo, Golf, and then up here to Terminal Delta, that's where we usually park on, let's get the parking chart. Down here, Delta 15, something like that. Maybe Delta 14 or 12 or so. But Delta 15 is the one that we aim for. Okay, do you have... well, I have nothing special, I have nothing non-standard. Do you have any threats? No? Lovely. So that's our briefing completed. Then let me say goodbye to our passengers. Fluggäste, einen schönen Abend aus dem Cockpit. Hier spricht Ihr Kapitän. Wir werden in den nächsten 10 Minuten unsere Reiseflughöhe verlassen. Starten unseren Anflug auf Dallas, wo wir pünktlich landen werden. Das Wetter dort derzeit 23 Grad bei einem klaren Himmel. Wir bedanken uns ganz herzlich, dass Sie heute Lufthansa geflogen sind, wünschen Ihnen einen schönen Aufenthalt, gegebenenfalls eine gute und sichere Weiterreise und würden uns freuen, Sie bald wieder an Bord eines unserer Flugzeuge willkommen zu heißen. Vielen Dank für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit und wir wünschen Ihnen eine gute und sichere Weiterreise. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. In 10 minutes we are going to leave our cruising altitude and start our descent to Dallas. Remaining flight time now approximately 35 minutes, which means we're going to arrive on time at our destination. The weather over there currently 23 degrees Celsius and we're looking at overly clear skies. Thank you very much for choosing Lufthansa today. We hope you enjoyed your flight as much as we did, and we look forward to working again on board of a future service. Thank you very much for your attention, and we look forward to see you all again soon. Here we are, descending along the Victory 2 arrival, and ATC has just confirmed that we're expecting the ILS approach runway 13 right. Let's go ahead and start to prepare our aircraft for today's approach. So, the lights are coming on, the signs are on, we have constraints, we have an LS selected, GPS primary with high accuracy, and the engine start selector is in norm. And that's about everything we can do for the time being, except for enjoying the lovely Texan landscapes that we are seeing. It's beautiful weather for an approach like this, and even more so beautiful weather for
Captain,
filming
cabin
an
is
approach
ready.
like this. Okay, thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now on our final approach into Dallas. Please turn off your electronic devices and stow them until we have arrived at the gate. We kindly ask you to put your tray tables away, ensure your seats are in their full upright position, and fasten your seat belts. Once we land, our Lufthansa staff will provide you with information regarding your connecting flights. Thank you for your cooperation.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, descend and maintain 3,000.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, descend and maintain 3,000. Oh, that's 3,000 blue. Okay, I like it when things are that easy, and they most certainly are today. So let's do the approach checklist, please. Bajo reference, QNH 29090. Seatbelts on, minimum baro 800, auto brake off, engine start selector on, approach checklist complete. So one of the things that may seem a little bit boring is that on an approach like this, if there is no traffic around, ATC won't have anything to do. That's because the American stars are made in a way that you simply descend along them. That's it. So we can clean the flight deck up though. Here we go. Now what is this out there? Is that rain? Or is that... That looks like a rain shower, doesn't it? We were not expecting anything like that. Let's see, it happens right across that little lake, which is of course just in front of the airport. Okay. So the airport's somewhere over there. Well, okay, in that case, if we're looking at a wet runway, let's go ahead and turn the auto brake low. On a dry runway you can easily make the airplane just roll out on its own, but on a wet runway I don't want to take any risks here, because if it goes wrong, then I'm the one paying for it as captain. Let's see if we can get an updated weather.
NE8 right, 17 center, 17 right, 13 right, 13 left, 17 left. Departing runways 18 left, 17 center, 17 right, 13 right, 13 left, 17 left. Advise on initial
They have too many
contact,
runways there, did anyone know that?
Dallas Fort Worth International Airport, Information Whiskey. 0753 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, broken at 24,000 feet. Temperature 23. Dew point 20. Altimeter 299.5.
Direct Papa, cleared for the ILS runway 13 right approach.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo direct Papa, cleared ILS 13 right. No idea where that comes from. Okay, speed all constraint start and speed descent, 3000 blue. Okay, so we're basically at a Papa anyway already, so we'll just keep it at that. Come on airplane, don't do this. First idle open descent. Just bringing a little bit of smoothness into the approach here. Okay, we're cleared for the ILS. That's approach armed, Cat 3 signal, Glasgow, block star. Then let's have a little bit of fun. Block. Okay, it may not be rain, but it may just be a little bit of low-lying fog bank or something here. That's fine. that case we can show the
Lufthansa 2
order.
Kilo, contact Dallas Tower on 124.15.
124.15, Lufthansa 2 Kilo. Dallas Tower, Lufthansa 2 Kilo Heavy, ILS 13 right. Flaps 1.
Lufthansa 2
Speed
Kilo, Dallas Tower, roger.
Oh yeah, that's
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, Dallas Tower, wind 355 at 4. Runway 13 right, cleared to land.
Runway 13 right, cleared to land, Lufthansa 2 Kilo. Gear down. That VNAV calculation has not really worked out. So go around altitude 3000 is set. And now we're in the classical A330 dilemma. This is gear down, full speed brake. It doesn't decelerate. Flaps 2, speed checked. Flaps 2. Flaps 3, speed checked. Flaps 3. Come on, man, slow down.
1,000.
Checked. 500 foot gate applies. Alright. So, landing checklist.
Approaching 13 right.
Where are they not sitting? Here we go. Landing checklist complete. So the runway is inside, we're clear to land. Lufthansa 2 Kilo, wind check. Land.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, wind 355 at 3. 100 above. 200. Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, spot us, reverse green, decel. Knots.
1,200 meters remaining. 900 remaining.
And manual brakes.
600 remaining.
70 knots.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, welcome to Dallas. Contact ground on
300 remaining.
1.65.
1.65, Lufthansa 2 Kilo.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, contact ground on 121.65 for taxi instruction.
Ladies and gentlemen,
121.65.
30 meters remaining.
at Dallas Fort Worth International Airport. Please remain
Fort Worth ground, Lufthansa 2 Kilo Heavy, request taxi to gate Delta 15.
largest urban arts district in the United States. It's also famous for its barbecue and Tex-Mex cuisine. On behalf of Captain Emmanuel, First Officer Hines, and the entire crew, we thank you for flying with Lufthansa today. The local time here is 1:58 p.m. We hope you enjoy your
Lufthansa
time
2
in this
Kilo,
vibrant city.
runway 15 is unavailable. Taxi to runway 13 right via Alpha 7. Bravo, cross runway 36 left, then cross runway 36 right, then Golf.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, request taxi to gate Delta 15. Now it's thinking.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, taxi to gate Delta 15 via Alpha 7 Bravo, cross runway 36 left, then cross runway 36 right, then Foxtrot Whiskey Lima. Have a good day.
Gate Delta 15 via Alpha 7 Bravo, Foxtrot Whiskey Lima and Lima, gate Delta 15, crossing both runways, Lufthansa 2 Kilo. Okay, that's something I can work with. So Alpha 7 and Bravo, that is straight ahead.
Lufthansa 2 Kilo, taxi to gate Delta 15 via Alpha 7 Bravo, cross runway 36 left, then cross runway 36 right, then Foxtrot Whiskey Lima.
We will do that, Lufthansa 2 Kilo, because there is absolutely no need to repeat that. Okay, so let's have a look. We're on Bravo over here. Let's get the ground shot. So in Bravo we clear across both runways, then Foxtrot, Whiskey Lima. Okay. That is easy going. So straight ahead, crossing both runways, thereafter first left and then Whiskey Lima. Okay, cool. After landing checklist, radar and predictive wind shear off. After landing checklist complete. So scheduled on-block in 3.5 minutes. Looks like we will be at least Deutsche Bahn pünktlich. Much rather Lufthansa on time. So, as I'm sure the question is going to come, which scenery are you using for Dallas? Of course it's Imagine Sim. And how good is it? Well, just make your own picture, as we're using it right now. Now, to be totally honest, these strange blips of color that you can find everywhere,
left.
Those are a little bit strange, aren't they? Of course, the terminal doesn't have the level of detail that you would expect from a smaller airport, but then again, we're talking about one of the largest airports in the world over here, so they probably have to sacrifice a little bit of detail in order to be able to, you know, provide a good frame rate and stuff. And here, look at all those color blips. Those are a little bit strange. Like, I totally get that they want to get a little bit of variety into the taxiways, but even here, you can just see those patches of, I don't know, blue, purple, orange. I don't know how Imagine Sim works internally, but when I'm photoshopping my thumbnails, then I get these patches of color when I use certain functions that I have since stopped using. Perhaps Imagine Sim is doing the same in scenery design. Apart from that, I am very happy to see that we finally got a good add-on Dallas. This is one of those airports that we really had to fly to, but there was just no good scenery available previously. Right, GSX, gate, Delta 15, and we don't need to follow me. I'm playing by... Well, let's take Donata. That company just always reminds me of the Pastel Donata, and man, I'm getting hungry now. But anyway, we're making it to the restaurants in a few moments, so... Okay, let's open the parking chart here. So, Whiskey Lima. I think that's gonna come over here. Yes, it is. So down to 10 knots and shut down engine 2, please. Saving that last bit of fuel. But then again, if you can save 50 kilos, that's $100 for the company, so why wouldn't you? Okay, so let's see. We're going to enter the apron straight ahead over here. Our gate is located over there. Let's take it nice and slow. Across spot 142. Both sides are clear. In the real world, I'd have the FO call apron control before we do this, of course. So that's Delta 16. We proceed one further to 15. Lights off. Starting APU. So nice and slow, 6 knots. Can do it even slower if you want to. Here we go. A little bit of power to ensure we don't stop. So the guidance system is looking very interesting, not realistic at all. There should be, you know, our aircraft type and stuff written on there. Well, there's a marshal standing inside of the police vehicle down there, so we'll use the marshal for parking guidance. Disregard the guidance system here. Looks like we need our last little burst of thrust. And stop. Okay. Park and brake is set. Why didn't the APU start? It didn't take the starter. Okay, in that case, shut that thing down again. We'll get external power. So, ground, toggle GPU. So, external A and B, and shut down. Come true, all doors in park. So, 1908, that's 3 minutes delayed, so as I mentioned, we are Deutsche Bahn pünktlich. As on time as the German railway company. Okay, let's wait until the slides are disarmed. Well, normally we only turn the seatbelts off after the slides are disarmed, but I have a feeling Unibuild has coupled it to the seatbelts in here, so that's kind of fine with me as well. Alright, so parking checklist please. Park and brake our trucks, brake set, engines off, fuel pumps off, and here we are. Thank you very much for flying along, my friends. Then let's do our after landing stuff. Why is that flap lever in the way? So, transponder 2000, fuel usage, let's see, 63.2, and we were supposed to use 61 point a bit, so we used like, well, 2,000 kilos more. But that's fine, that's partially because we took the extra fuel, of course, and partially because I did fly it a tad lower for a little bit, at least for the last, well, hour or so. Okay, and that's everything we can do for you. So, let's see, our IRSs ran totally fine. In the real world you'd find them anywhere between, 2 miles for a good unit up to like 10 miles or so. So there's that to keep in mind. Let's also turn the packs off because we are very likely going to get an air conditioning unit here, which unfortunately is not modeled in here, but is fine with me as well. Request deboarding, please. And, well, then we have it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. 10.5 hours on board the Airbus A330 towards Dallas, one of those airports that's been sorely missing in a flight simulator. Now, in my opinion, it would be nice if they had added a little bit of terminal interiors and stuff like that over here, but, well, we can absolutely live with it this way as well. Thank you very much for flying along, everyone. At least we do have good performance with the way that the airport looks over here. And with all of that out of the way, all I can say is thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed today's ATC, be sure to check out Sane Intentions AI using the link in the pinned comment or the video description below. If you enjoyed the flight, be sure to let me know in the pinned comments. Subscribe if you're up for more, and finally, if you really love what I'm doing on the channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.